Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Dane White from Clarkston. You may know him as one of the drum majors for the Clarkston Marching Band. Dane, how are you?
Good. How are you?
So I know I just kind of explained what you do, but just kind of, go the more expansive side of things, maybe the Cliff Notes version of just, you know, what you do and all that.
I've starting my sophomore year at Clarkston. I was selected for one of the drum majors for the marching band, and a lot of people say drum majors is it's got to be someone playing the drums in the band, but a drum major is actually one of the leaders of the entire group. So our group is about 100 people, so ranging from 8th through 12th grade. I'm the one up on the big podium at football games and competitions where I'll be waving my arms and leading the group throughout the entire season.
So how did you how does one become this? So I'm pretty sure there's a rigorous process. Like, can you just explain to the audience watching this how it all works?
It can be different at every school. When we go up for some of our camps, you could have someone in some high schools where they just get picked by their director. But at Clarkston, we go through an audition process of it's really cool as well. The former or current drum majors run the rehearsals for them, where you will do commands because one job as a drum major is when we're at a football game, we have to give commands for the band to get out on the field or anything like that. So they have to do commands in front of the directors, and they also have to conduct two pieces that we do as well, and uh, and then they'll be marching along while someone else gives a command. And the
Right.
final part is just they write an essay as well. But what's really cool is one of our directors always say your audition starts right when you joined in sixth grade into the band program. So that's kind of the process.
I know that obviously, you also have to have one. This is not like required to do this, but it always seems like when you're in this public position, you have to be like super outgoing or something like that. And I know that may be hard for a lot of people. I know from just talking with you and stuff like that. Have you always kind of been like that and just like, was it something that this is what I've always wanted to do? Was it hard for you to adjust to this kind of stuff? With all that?
Yeah, I've always kind of thought of myself as someone that um, wants to try to take up a leadership position. I always think back of even elementary school. I was always the one to try to be on student council, or I always like to, what can I do better to, to help the group? And so when I joined back in eighth grade, I kind of saw this as a chance of like, man, I really want to do this when I'm older to see what my skills can do and help the group to be successful.
Yeah, and also like, so when you got, because I know I believe you are a senior, correct?
I am, yep.
So as you kind of wrap up your tenure as drum major, um, you've seen and done a lot of things. Like, what was it like to just experience all those things that you did?
Yeah, it was just such a really cool experience. I mean, starting my sophomore year, it's just, I think what was so cool is just to see my growth every single year. Because for us and for Clarkston being a competing band, it's really cool to go each week to a different school. And at the end, the drum majors and one of our color guard captains or two, we have the awards, and that's just us. And we get to talk and meet other drum majors. And I think my favorite part overall as a drum major has been also just going to these summer camps that we go to at Central Michigan every year because it's a whole week of all of these leadership camps and opportunities where you are learning just these lifelong valuable skills that I'll be using my entire life. So it's just been a great time just working with everyone.
So, I know you've got to, what are some of the fun things that you got to do, like, just in a season like these competitions, I know that there are some like Scholastic where that's where you compete in festivals and all that stuff. And then there's competitions where it's you're competing every single weekend at high schools all across the country, all across the state, excuse me.
Yeah, yeah, I know you're good. Yeah.
Uh, But what are one of these competitions like for people that may not have gone to one of these things?
Yeah, so it's really cool. Basically, I mean, we start our season end of July, August for Clarkston. There's other groups that start earlier, but um, for us, I mean, for competitions, we always have rehearsal in the morning. With our flight, we're like the flight one, or you could think of it as divisions. We perform normally later at night, so we usually have a rehearsals in the morning, working on our same show the entire year, and we'll have props, different backdrops. We actually started 2 years ago, have custom uniforms for our shows, and we get to the competition. We have our warm ups, and we get out on the field and do our entire show. And I think the most fun part about our season is we go to these different high schools throughout the season, but we get to cap off our state finals at Ford Field,
Yep.
which is the highlight of the season when you get there.
Yeah, I know there's a ton of what are one of those competitions like? Because because you're only doing like, performing a couple shows like, maybe a couple times during games, but you have the show that you're graded on and all that stuff. So what is that like to be on the big stage in front of a lot of people? You just explain what that's like?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's an unreal feeling like having I think what's really cool about a difference between like a football halftime show than an actual competition is that that crowd for that competition is there for 100% for the group. So for competing, obviously, to watch their competition. So it is completely dead silent in the stands when you're competing, and so everyone's just completely focused, and you see, that's when you can just notice every single detail and how much the hard work can pay off for all the groups. And so we get on, and one of us will give the salute in the beginning, and then we just start off where and the shows are different every year, but there's always a huge high part of our show, and then it gets to my favorite part, like the lyrical slow part of our show. So
You ever get nervous up there doing conducting stuff like that? Or is that something you've always do you ever get nervous before any of those big shows, or are you just ready to go?
I think starting my sophomore year, I was definitely very nervous the first time, because I mean, as drum major, you have a big responsibility. You've got to make sure that you set the right tempo, the right speed for the group, and you have to keep that consistent with the drum line in the back, right? So there's just so much pressure, and you've got to give them the right cues and everything of the time. So I think as my years have gone on, I think the only time I get nervous is Ford Field, just because that's the last one of the season, and you want to just do as best you can. So I would say probably just Ford Field.
So I know you only have a few, like, I don't know if you have not even maybe a month. I'm not sure. Like, you only have like a few weeks left of your senior year. Is it hard to believe that it's almost done?
It's unreal. I still can't believe it's almost done. Like I think we're done halfway through May, which is just insane. And no, I still can't believe it yet. But start things are starting to wind down now, so it's starting to settle in.
Yeah. So like from, last senior day and then until like, what is it? What do you want to accomplish in these next few weeks? Or are you just trying to enjoy the moment? Like what's going through your head right now?
I'm really just trying every single day to one get through the school day of making sure I stay there. Some people get like senioritis is very real right now, but for me, I'm just kind of soaking in the last few moments here in the last few weeks and trying to make it count. Where you reach out to those friends that you may have not seen too much, and you see each other during school, but then hey, let's go hang out after school. So. Um, Stuff like that. It's just cool because you'll never get this kind of experience again. So it's starting to wind down, but it's going well. So
So let's talk about what is next. I know we kind of talked about that. I know you mentioned there's a couple clues that you pick up on during the interview and stuff. You mentioned that the camps are at Central Michigan that you go to. that is actually where you're heading.
Yes.
United there. Um,
Yeah.
so, obviously, I know Central has a great education program. What is why did you decide that you wanted to go there? Because the several times you've been up there, I was like, this might be a fun place to go for 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. Central Michigan, it's just for me, it's just such a great fit. Working with all the professors and administration there, all their faculty has just been so welcoming, and I think of it as it's just like a little family up there. Where I mean, my whole family is blood green for Michigan State, and I've always wanted, like I always said, I would go there, but when I really thought about the program and what I want to do and for opportunities and just how well I work with everyone up there. It's been a great time these past few years checking out Central Michigan, and um, I've just really felt like it's going to be a great fit for me.
And you talk about, leading the drum movement, but your ultimate goal is music education. Um, when did you want to do that?
Yeah, funny enough, actually, I really started thinking about music education probably when I went to my first drum major camp at Central Michigan. I always thought of myself as like, oh, I'll probably be mechanical engineering, and I'm a big math guy, big science guy. Um, but then I started just right when I got up to CMU for that camp, and that's just it's such a great camp for that whole week of all the leadership classes and the people you're around. I just kind of was like this is where I'm meant to be of just how passionate and how just filled with happiness I was up there. So it's just yeah, that was great.
Really? But yeah. Um, Most exciting part about your senior year, what was the best thing you got to do this year?
Oh my gosh. Best part of senior year. Honestly, just kind of some people say it's not the best part, but I always think of just kind of the last when you get these last parts of things. Like, you could even think about, oh, going to my last playoff game for basketball and being in the student section and being there, or just having my last competition at Ford Field. I think that part of my senior year of just kind of understanding, like, yeah, I really want to take in these last moments have honestly have been one of my favorite parts.
For sure. All right. Well, Dane, thank you so much for the time. And it's been fun getting to know you and getting to learn a little bit about you. And best of luck at CMU, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.